Afternoon, everyone. I didn't think I was going to get time for a video today. I have a Christmas party to go to tonight, so 'tis the season and all that. Very excited. But first, I wanted to get this video out because there's a lot going on with the Global Compact on Migration. We've only got 10 days left, and I saw a post around asking where are the premiers. The stakes are huge here. It's not just opening Ontario's borders. It's destroying Canada's sovereignty by opening up this, or by signing this Global Compact on Migration. We've had a soft open on this Global Compact, and it's costing thousands of dollars to house these people, and that's not even that's not even to process these people. Housing these people is not even included in the costs that have been reported. So that needs to be known, and it's costing millions of dollars. It's not free. Right? That is a cost, and it's going to add probably about $500 million, $500 million to the cost when you look at it all told. And that's nowhere near what they're budgeting. And this is being signed to enshrine this in law, this absolute waste of money on people who do not qualify for status in Canada. We are still putting them up in hotels because the time it takes to process them. This is the Irregular Migration report from the PBO, okay, and the Parliamentary Budget Office, PBO, and this shows the wait times. And the longer people wait, the more they cost. And this is processing costs. This isn't housing costs. This is the amount it costs the facilities, the courts, the salary of the people doing the hearings and all that other stuff. That's what this stuff costs. And the variable costs, the fixed costs are next to none. The fixed costs are less than 10%. The variable costs are massive. Again, if you haven't had a look through this report, and if you've only read the news article does an okay job, but it doesn't go completely in depth. I've been working on a video. I've done two that I've thrown out because they're not good enough on this document, because I want people to understand what is happening. 20% of the cost of this is fixed, and that's the only fixed cost is the RCMP. Everything else is variable, and they're spending literally billions on non-citizens. This is insane. Okay, so this is being signed, and this is being signed in 10 days. I wanted to show you this. This is a German parliamentarian. Sorry if I said that incorrectly. And she is talking, and it's captioned in English, about the Global Compact. She says that the Global Compact was classified as a B-class priority. When you're in government, they have like A-class priority, B-class priority, et cetera, et cetera. And she explains all this, and she says it's a little boring. I'm sorry. And the video is only 15 minutes, and I couldn't watch it in double speed because I had to read the whole thing, and it was moving too fast. But so I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet. As I said, I'm kind of busy. I have to get out of here soon. But my point is, this is somebody in government saying that her own government structure made the Global Compact on Migration kind of a second, something that didn't need her attention, didn't need her to look at. She goes into depth about it, and I think it's a worthwhile video to watch. It's very wonky. It's a very dry political video, but it is interesting and it is informative. Canada is signing this. This is what people in other governments are saying. If this can't inform our decision and maybe make some noise to pull us out, I don't know what will. It's crazy. So I wanted to point this out. I started asking, where are the premiers? Where is the political opposition to this in Canada? So I started plugging premiers and leaders into Twitter and seeing if they're even talking about it at all. The first one I checked was Maxime Bernier, because I'm a Maxime Bernier fan and I'm a People's Party of Canada fan. So check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca if you're interested in this topic, because Maxime Bernier is talking about this. There's a bunch of tweets that he uses the term Global Compact on Migration. And we're actually going to come back and look at this because a couple of these are cogent to the discussion that I want to continue to have. But let's have a look at the other party leaders. Andrew Scheer has not tweeted about the Global Compact on Migration. And people can say, his party's tweeted about it. He's a team guy. This is being signed in 10 days. If your company was going to be taken over by another company in 10 days, and there was maybe some question if it was a good idea, you'd think that one of the people vying to lead the company would talk about it publicly. Not a word. What's going on, Mr. Scheer? Are you afraid to name it? Are you afraid to talk about it? Are you afraid that your constituents won't like it? Maybe people don't know what it is. Maybe people, I have no idea. Why aren't you talking about this? But the same question can be asked for Elizabeth May, because she's a leader of a major party, right? And Jagmeet Singh, too. Global Compact on Migration. Nothing. And Doug Ford. I started thinking the other party leaders aren't talking about this. Justin Trudeau is making his press talk about this in absolute sunshine and rainbows. It's going to be a boon to our economy. It's going to be great. It's not great. We don't want it. Close our borders, period. Thank you. But not one premier is talking about this that I could find. And I haven't had a chance to look through all of them. I'm sorry. I've got a bunch here, but here's Ford Nation. So that's Doug Ford, not a word. Here's Scott Moe, nothing on it. Here's Brian Pallister, that's Saskatchewan. Rachel Notley, no, she doesn't care. Not enough to tweet on it. And again, that was where I ran out. No disrespect to any other provinces. I was just kind of going through, and I have less than 10 minutes before I have to leave, so I've got to hurry up. But let's go back to Mr. Bernier's tweets. These are the most recent tweets from Mr. Bernier, and I'm just going to read them out. So this is in response to Mr. Trudeau's disastrous 1 minute of insulting everybody in Canada, pretty much. If you're a man or a woman or a person, you were insulted by something Trudeau said during that 1 minute. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. And I do a video on it. I did a video on it yesterday. Have a watch if you're interested. But here's Maxime Bernier, quote, Canada is about to sign the UN Global Compact on Migration, whose goal is to normalize mass migrations. No impact study, no debate. But Trudeau says we must have social and gender impact analysis when a project brings many male construction workers to a rural area? Yeah. Max also tweeted, Andrew Scheer's first action after he was elected leader was to whip his caucus into voting for the Paris Accord on climate. He also supports the UN's awful global compact on migration. This was tweeted on November 18th before the Conservative Party officially came out against the global compact. So just in case you're not sure about that, the Conservative Party is against the global compact on migration officially, according to their shadow minister, Michelle Rempel. As we saw, Mr. Scheer has not weighed in on Twitter, and I haven't seen anywhere else. So if you do see somewhere else, please do send it to me. I'm interested and I'm covering this. So, and Maxime Bernier again is talking about coordinated propaganda. Quote, there's now coordinated propaganda across the world to make us believe that mass migration is a normal thing that is beneficial to all. The Global Compact on Migration even has its own international film festival, Be Inspired, Be Transformed. And it's propaganda trash. Just in case you thought maybe it wasn't, it definitely absolutely is. Please, the link is in the description. Have a look for yourself. But it's so interesting that we only have one politician, and he had to leave the major parties who's talking against the Global Compact on Migration. Only one politician who's even naming it. What's going on? Is everybody purchased? Does nobody understand that the country's pulling out and expressing extreme concern over the Global Compact? Well, hold on, I'll show you. This was printed on November 29th, so 2 days ago. It says, Hungary not to recognize UN Migration Compact. Hungary will not enforce, quote, a single passage in the United Nations Global Migration Compact, Foreign Minister said during the talks with Antonio Vitorino, head of International Organization for Migration, IOM, in Geneva on Wednesday. The minister told a press conference after the talks that the package was contradictory to Hungary's interests because it, quote, encourages migration rather than seeking to stem such processes. The compact, similarly to the European Union's mandatory quotas, would be, quote, practically equal to an invasion, the minister said, and insisted that the countries around the EU, that there are some 30 to 35 million people whose conditions could easily motivate them to leave their homeland. Quote, we are not going to pay for courses for migrants. We will not hide that mass migration will have serious security impacts, and we will not provide the same services to migrants as to tax-paying Hungarians. The minister added, however, that Hungary could cooperate with the IOM on such issues as helping persecuted Christians return to their homes in the Middle East or fighting against people smuggling. So there are serious concerns, and this is just one example of a serious concern with regards to the Global Compact on Migration. It removes a country's sovereignty. It removes a country's ability to choose who it lets in, how many it lets in, et cetera, et cetera. There are many videos online breaking this down, and I have yet to do one just because, man, I'm just one person right now. So the concern is real. We have 10 days left. We need to either make some noise or roll over and accept that mass migration and open borders is the future of Canada. And that's unfortunate. So I've started tweeting at Mr. Ford to find out why he has not taken a position on this. And I'm going to start calling him on Monday because he's not working right now as far as I know. But I know Mr. Ford. He's probably watching Twitter. I don't actually personally know Mr. Ford. I've just tweeted him before and he's liked or replied or something like that. So I don't mean to imply that I know Mr. Ford. Raj Grewal, the currently gambling addicted and not former MP for the Liberal caucus, has released a statement. And it's basically, he's got mental health. Well, I mean, he covers a lot of ground, and I don't want to do him an injustice by misrepresenting what he says. So please read it yourself. There are some interesting passages, but as I said, I have to speed this up a little bit. I saw this picture, and I wanted to share it with you because what? Are you a grown woman? What do you do? Like, this is the signing of the USMCA. Maybe sit properly, like an adult. That aged well, didn't it, Miss Freeland? Oh, you're welcome, Oshawa. Oh, sorry about that whole thing, Oshawa. We spoke a little too soon. Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to show you here is Justin Trudeau is tweeting. And a few days ago, I said, what is Justin Trudeau doing? And I said, is he dealing with the 100 million job losses or 200 million job losses in Alberta and the terrible price that our oil is getting from the world market? And no, that wasn't what he's dealing with. Is he dealing with Oshawa? And is he dealing with the car manufacturing heart of Ontario being ripped out of its chest? And no, he's not. He's got all the leaders of the parties together to talk about francophones in Ontario. Really? And he tweeted this out. And the reason I'm showing this to you is, what in the world is Mr. Scheer thinking participating in this? If I'm Mr. Scheer, I'm pointedly not having this meeting, and I'm going to talk to somebody publicly about oil and gas, or somebody publicly about immigration, because that's something that people in Quebec and people in Ontario want to hear about. No one, 4% of francophones in Ontario care about this funding. There are some people out there who really care about it, but most of the people, and especially when we're dealing with the finances that Ontario is dealing with right now, we have to make cuts. Shaming a government for choosing to deal with the majority language when facing cuts is silly, especially in the face of the absolute disasters that are going on in both Ontario and Alberta right now. And Mr. Scheer, I know I said talk to somebody about oil and gas, but you've done enough of that. Talk to people about immigration. Maybe you could talk about the Global Compact on migration, because maybe people want to know what the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada thinks about flooding Canada with unchecked migrants from the UN. I certainly want to know. Take a stand. Make a position clear. Stop riding the socktails of this complete buffoon. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry December. I'm excited. Thank you for watching.